I've been hearing complaints from the OG Transformer fans, from some OG Transformer fans of how the Bayverse Transformers its design suck. And bro, I could not disagree more. Like, bro, they are cool designs. What do you mean? Like, straight up, I feel like because they grew up with the original Transformers, they are just hating on these newer designs. Well, not they're not really new anymore, but yeah, they're shitting on these designs because they they grew up with the original. Like I'm not even saying that these are better than the original. I'm just saying they're good. Like stop lying and saying they're terrible designs. They're great designs. Like I hear this of, oh, it's overcomplicated. It should be simplified. Like no, why does it need to be? It's fine. And then they went back to the simpler designs for the new movie. Like what was the that one that came out recently? Transformers One. And yeah, that's a great design. Yeah, you are not the Bayverse Transformers is basically finished. I'm fine with that. These are great designs. They're both great designs. But don't come here lying and saying, "Oh, this is a terrible design." Nah, Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's straight up dumb opinion. It's a dumb opinion. Now, Transformers, was it five? Yeah, I think Transformers five. I hated that. The Transformer enemies didn't really transform. They just turned into this like nanobot thing. That was absolutely dumb, bro. It's called Transformers. They should transform. What was Michael Bay doing, thinking with that? That was dumb. But yeah, but for designs, the Bayverse Transformers, great, absolutely great. Okay, so again, the video. Bayverse designs are good actually by J-Man. I already agree. I haven't even watched the video yet.
Something that really grinds my
I
gears
know,
is when
I know it's going to spit facts.
Something that really grinds my gears is when people talk shit about the Bayverse designs. Most of the time, it doesn't really sound like real criticism. Instead, it just comes off as a whole lot of bitching and moaning. For years, when
Yeah.
people talk shit about the Bayverse designs, they repeat the same complaints, saying shit like they look like random pieces of scrap metal, or they aren't blocky like G1, or it's hard to tell what they transform into and they look too complicated, or when they talk about the
Oh, yeah. Also, that one of you can't tell what they transform into. Like, can you specify? Because ain't no way you don't know what they transform into. It's so obvious. Like, maybe like the Transformers 5 movie, maybe, but nah, that's stupid as
one,
arguments.
or it's hard to tell what they transform into and they look too complicated, or when they talk about the Decepticons, they always say
Like, tell me you don't know what Starscream transforms into. For if you see him for the first time, or what Bumblebee transforms into, it's so obvious, bro.
it's hard to tell what they transform into and they look too complicated, or when they talk about the Decepticons, they always say they look boring. These are the main complaints I've seen over
How?
the years. These
How?
complaints have gotten really, really, really annoying, and I know I'm not the
Yeah,
only one who hates
bro, I'm not even holding back here. This whole thing annoys me so much. Because really, I am not trying to make not, you're not making fair arguments or doing fair criticisms. You're just hating.
and really, really, really annoying. And I know I'm not the only one who hates hearing this shit get repeated about these awesome designs. The they look
Yep.
like scrap metal statement is genuinely one of the most annoying and ridiculous ones. I've always found the people who say this about
Honestly, I haven't heard that one. That one is the only one I haven't heard
the designs often
before.
have no clue on what they're talking about. It is not only just disrespectful to the people who spent countless hours creating and animating these CGI models for us,
Yeah.
the audience, to enjoy on the
Like, bro, look how good Optimus looks. You're telling me this looks like scrap metal? Like, what are you talking about?
big screen. People who say they look like scrap metal rarely take the time to actually give these designs a chance. Instead, they're quick to dismiss them outright and just say they're shit. I also think people need to understand that this is a different continuity. It's okay for certain things
Yeah,
to be different. That's perfectly fine. Change itself isn't a bad thing. It allows a franchise to evolve and opens the door for new ideas, styles, and interpretations that can bring more people into it. This applies to any piece of media, not just Transformers. If everything stayed exactly the same over and over and over again, it would eventually become boring and stagnate. The
yeah, you can't expect to be the same. Like, there's so many different Transformers movies and series that follow like different continuities. Like you have the original G1, you have the Bayverse movies. Uh I forgot the name. Oh yeah, there was this cartoon I used to really enjoy. Well, there was multiple Transformers cartoon I really enjoyed. Transformers Prime, and then there was another one before that one, which I think was actually the same continuity. Was it? Mm, let me check real quick. Transformers Prime. Yeah, this one. Anyone who watched Transformers, the Transformers cartoon back in the day, remember this one? Oh, so good. Absolutely love this one. And then I think the one after this is it after? No, it's got to be after. Yeah, yeah, this one, Transformer Prime Beast Hunters. Wait, is it? I even forgot if it was the same. I remember Transformers Prime and another Transformers cartoon, which was basically a continuation of Transformers Prime. I think it's Beast Hunters, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I haven't like watched every Transformers content, but I know there's a lot of different ones with different continuities, and I've enjoyed a lot of them. So like and like that and like there were different versions even before the Bayverse movies. So it's the expectation of it being the same doesn't make sense.
Bayverse designs are unique and awesome, and I'm honestly tired of people calling them ugly when they clearly aren't. Every
Yeah,
design brings something interesting to the table. Something you have to understand is that the original trilogy had a certain design philosophy. Each design had this alien look to it, and you could
the original trilogy for the Bayverse Transformers was absolute peak, bro. Peak.
trilogy had a certain design philosophy. Each design had this alien look to it, and you could still see how things actually transformed, even
Yeah.
if the transformations were fast and brief. The vehicle parts and their corresponding disguises actually, well, correspond. The original trilogy had that principle clearly written down into so many Autobahn Decepticon designs. However, this was lost in the fourth and fifth installment because
Yeah.
transformations started getting far
Like, look at
sloppier.
those,
Characters began
bro. So those so ass, bro.
and defining physics and compressing into really, really impossible shapes. I can
Yeah.
understand the complaint that it started to become harder to tell what they transform into because around these two films, we started getting really cool robot focused designs that didn't always emphasize visible vehicle parts, which I don't
Yeah.
like and others don't like
I
too.
also
I want
don't
to
like
move
it.
on
Yeah.
and I want to talk about the Decepticon designs. Because within the trilogy, their designs lean heavily into the monstrous alien aesthetic, which makes them
Mm,
look so menacing and awesome. The Decepticons
yeah.
have a lot of unique designs and interesting proportions like Shockwave, all three of Megatron's designs, Devastator, Demolisher, Crowbar, Crankcase, Blackout,
Mm,
Starscream, Barricade, Mixmaster, and so many more. Sure, not all
yeah.
of them
Yo,
are
I love
colorful like
them,
the
bro.
Constructicons, but it makes sense why some Decepticons
I love the Decepticon design, bro. Yo, I've always wanted the toys, but they were so expensive.
like Starscream, Brawl, Bone Crusher, Blackout, Constructicons, Starscream, Barricade, Mixmaster, and so many more. Sure, not all of them are colorful like the Constructicons, but it makes sense why some Decepticons like Starscream, Brawl, Bone Crusher, Blackout, and any other Decepticon clones with similar designs don't have G1 colors. It's because
Yeah.
most military vehicles aren't painted in bright or flashy colors. They're usually
Exactly.
covered in grays, dull greens, or tans because those
Mm,
colors help reduce visibility and allow them to blend into the sky or whatever terrain they're operating in. On top of that, most of the military vehicles simply suit their body types, which helps
mm.
them stay hidden. Circling back to the Constructicons, all of their designs are absolutely fucking peak. And
Yeah.
their
Ooh.
crazy body proportions are just so awesome. I also feel like the Constructicons being different colors makes a lot of sense, and it also makes them look a lot more vibrant, especially when they combine to form Devastator. I like how
Yeah.
Devastator has green eyes, and I like how he has like so many of them, which makes him look like a spider, which is pretty cool. The monstrous alien vibe is really prominent in this design, and I think it's absolutely amazing. Now I want to talk about the
Great scene.
Autobots, starting with the leader himself, Optimus Prime. He has one of the best
The
designs in the
most,
trilogy, and the people who criticized the
I
flame
agree.
paint job at the time are some of the most room temperature people out there. Even though the films take place
There's actually people that complain about the flames, bro. These people aren't real, bro.
flame paint job at the time are some of the most room temperature people out there. Even though the films take place in the late 2000s to early 2010s, big rigs from the 70s through the 2000s were known for having flashy, over the top designs. If
Yeah,
anything, this makes his look feel completely fitting, pulling from that 80s aesthetic. The red and blue color scheme, you can never truly go wrong with this aesthetic. Flames complement Optimus. The idea of a big rig with exaggerated colors is really 80s. Starting off with the helmet, we got our blue helmet with silver accents and the antennas. They're great. Optimus having a face never really bothered me for some reason, due to the fact that the people at ILM actually invested real effort into the functionality of Optimus having a face, along with doing the
yeah.
same for the other Transformers in the Bayverse. The angled eye mechanisms that act like shutters, the segmented lips, and the constantly shifting plates, it doesn't feel uncanny or weirdly malleable like what we
That's a
usually
great.
get in Transformers media. Granted, softer faces
Yeah.
are easier to render, but the point still stands,
Mm,
and we can't forget the helmet details either, like the face vents and the chin strap, which tie back into that design biology integration that I mentioned earlier. Just above and below the end of his helmet exist two blue shifting plates that are color matched with his helmet that act like eyebrows. In some scenes it is shown, but it is subtle. Moving down to his upper shoulder
mm,
area, the smokestacks are just great. For an Optimus design, you need to have them. This man has such a broad silhouette, akin to the Iron Giant. Same body plan and everything. This man's whole upper assembly requires to have those shoulder arcs. They're just so aesthetically pleasing to look at. Since we're in the neighborhood, look at his truck
great.
windshield chest. Very Optimus-like. The doors are also slightly bent, which I don't like too much, but it's fine. Jumping to his blocky arms, they're very reminiscent of the design philosophy of G1. Interestingly so, they stayed true to the alien aesthetic. I feel like the most cherished part of his whole design is his Gundam-esque lower legs. They're already great, but the way the rear wheels compress and sit in an inverted position compared to his previous iteration where they were on
Yeah.
his calves just works. His legs become
Mhm.
thicker and his feet are very dinosaur-like with the two large toes and a weird inner hoof. The feet themselves are just as intricate as everything else. I could make a whole video about how the feet in these movies follow a certain engineering philosophy concerning weight distribution, aka back toes.
Oh,
Bumblebee has them too, almost like support
yeah, I didn't
heels.
think
But
of
to
that.
wrap it up with Optimus, his design is a 10 out of 10. Let's talk about Bumblebee's design. He's very
Agreed.
insect-like. A lot of things going on, but his silhouette is very Gundam-esque again. Somewhat average waist and chest, ridiculous forearm thingies, proportionally thicker lower legs, big calves, big feet. Very silly, yet awesome. I'm gonna go on a bit of a rapid fire here. The helmet, it's great. Similar to Optimus, you could see and speculate on some kind of species hierarchy and role based on the designs. The humanoid Cybertronians tend to have this forward notch esque design, paralleling Roman helmets. His eyes are very bug like, yet they are encased in this liquid like casing where his actual eyes expand and contract like camera lenses, making him very expressive. His eyebrow and eyelid lower cheekbone thingies allow for so much more range when he's expressing emotions, and the radio mouthpiece is absolutely awesome. Overall, the shape of his helmet,
Yeah.
especially within the center apex between his eyes, bolted on articulated antenna pieces, really sells it for me. He's an alien, but not uncanny. The designers managed to make an expressive design without incorporating too many humanoid elements, which is honestly really impressive. Then again, I can make a whole separate video on his head alone. It's ridiculous. Circling back to the weird back toes comment I made earlier on the Optimus segment, he has some here. They act more like support heels because we could see how the whole assembly is predicated on this wheel. I also like how this weird large contraption that just juts out of the front of the foot. It's just like Optimus's weird middle hoof thing between his two larger toes,
Mm.
where there is just a rod that protrudes out of it. And we got some front stabilizers. The main foot aspect of this area, we also got some interesting things going on in his
Yeah, bro, it's like just appreciate the detail and like they thought about the realism, bro, the balance and stuff. Like it was crazy.
calves. The
I didn't even think about that.
middle of the torso got a bunch of car parts everywhere. In other words, seeing a lot of visible car parts is just very nice. But what really
Yeah,
makes this design iconic, the door wings. That single design choice changed everything, and it influenced so many future versions of Bumblebee that's now become the
yeah,
standard. When you picture Bumblebee, what do you picture him with? Door wings. Overall,
yes,
every one of
abs-
Bumblebee's designs throughout the trilogy
definitely.
are fucking awesome. All of them are a 10 out of 10. I could go on for hours glazing over so many Autobahn Decepticon designs, but I think it's best that we move on and talk about something more interesting, the faces of these Transformers. The Bayverse has a wide variety of face designs that fall along a spectrum of sorts. On one end, there are face designs that lean heavily into the alien aesthetic, like all of the trilogy Decepticons and a few
Yeah.
that appeared in TLK, along with characters like Bumblebee, Ironhide, Sideswipe, the Twins, Jolt, and Mirage. In the middle sit designs like Optimus, Ratchet, the Wreckers, Wheeljack, and Jetfire, which strike a strong balance between humanoid and alien features. On the far end, there are designs that lean more heavily into human features, such as Sentinel Prime, Drift, Lockdown, Crosshairs, Day Trader, and Hound. These faces tend to fall deeper into the
Just
uncanny valley, where the
yeah,
resemblance to human features can feel unsettling rather than convincingly alien. Their faces are creepy, yes, but they're not like, oh, I'm gonna shit my pants if I see that. However, Sound Prime is the one exception. While his facial
yeah.
structure is more humanoid,
And no, out of all those examples, who was the one that was in the original trilogy? Sentinel. So, right, actually, the original trilogy was just the best designs.
however, Sound Prime is the one exception. While his facial structure is more humanoid, he has enough Cybertronian details that prevent him from feeling truly uncanny, making him one
Yeah,
of the stronger humanoid leading designs. That's all I got for today. Like the video, dislike it. Either way, it helps boost my video into the
first,
algorithm. Do all the usual stuff YouTubers ask you to do. Goodbye, and thank you for watching.
thanks for the video. Yeah, that was
Something
absolutely
that really
great. Went through all my points and added some too. Absolutely great. Yeah, this makes me want to rewatch the original trilogy. You know, they actually look like they'd be alien robots, considering that this is supposed to be a realistic take on Transformers. They perfectly nailed it. Yep. I really agree about the problem with AOE and TLK designs. Uh, which one's AOE again? So TLK is the last night. AOE, what? Transformers, the last night was the fifth film, right? I think AOE is the fourth film. What was it called again? Dark of the Moon was the third one. The last night, yeah, whatever. The fourth film. I don't remember the name. Making Transformer designs without vehicle parts is just nonsensical, yup. Cause that's the whole point. We love keyboard. Keyboard. They really said give me Transformers with nothing. Yeah. What was Transformers 4 called again? Transformers 4, this doesn't matter, but it's really bothering me that I can't remember. Transformers 4. Yeah, Age of Extinction. Why could I not remember it, bro? Yeah, Age of Extinction. Yeah. Mm.